Yeah. Surprise, a little different than you used to. Yeah. Dropping these bars on YouTube, knowledge I introduce you. Yeah. We chasing this money like it's the prize, it's the voodoo. Fugazi, fugazi, it's just a lie we buying into. We need some cars on deck. Get the rollies, get the Moe, all the Mars on deck. Good afternoon, everyone. Apologies, I had some technical issues trying to get all of this up and running. My main camera over here decided not to work for whatever reason, so we're on a webcam right now. I do want to cover a little bit of a story that I've seen a little bit today, and there has been a lot of conversations about this actually happening. And the question is this going to be a good thing for tenants? Is it going to be a good thing for first-time buyers? I also have a very important question to ask at the end of this stream as well, which I'd love to get your opinion on. And please do leave in your comments down below or maybe in the chat what you think about the question, because landlords do get a bad rap. And already there's a comment from Visual here saying that actually, maybe this is a good thing, because ultimately, when you look at some of the homes that are put on the market by landlords, they can be in a really, really poor state of disrepair. And I think that is true. Definitely has been reported. But the question is, and let me just ask it now, actually, so it's out of the way. There are on social media plenty of property investors, and property investors are essentially landlords. Is this something that would be deemed as a good thing, because it then gives the opportunity for others to get on the property ladder and essentially do exactly the same as landlords are currently doing, i.e. pushing up rent prices? Or is it just a perception thing? Because traditionally, the term landlord has associated with it this they're a bad egg type thing, whereas now the social media narrative is property investor. You're no longer a landlord, you're a property investor. But let's just have a look at this article right here. And this is actually on the BBC News today. There are some really good points that were made in this. So it says, rising interest rates are putting pressures on landlords, pushing some to consider selling up, surveyors are saying. In turn, that could further squeeze the availability of rental properties and raise costs for tenants, according to the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. And I think there is an element of truth in that. If you have landlords looking to exit the market because now there's Section 24, which makes it even less attractive as a landlord to be able to make a profit because you're paying tax on more. You can't claim your mortgage payments now as part of your taxable costs. Then if they are now, because of interest rates now pushing these properties onto the market, that essentially means that potentially there are going to be less rental properties on the market, because a first-time buyer might actually go buy it, which will be good for first-time buyers. But for renters, this will be a bad thing. And with a short supply of properties to rent, that is going to push up rental prices even further. And it's a really, really weird situation at the moment, because obviously we're talking about rental prices increasing alongside the fact that there are interest rate rises at this point in time, and this whole fear around whether or not the Bank of England base rate is going to go from 4.5% to 5.5%. I mean, I know of landlords, and I'm not a landlord. I know of landlords at the moment who are having to seriously considering putting up rent for their tenants. They feel bad about doing it, but the simple fact is they can't break even if they don't. And so what we're then seeing is you're seeing tenants being asked to pay an extra £300-400 a month as the cost of the rate increase for the mortgage is passed on to them. And in some cases, the landlords may not even be breaking even at this point in time. So it's an interesting section. And this article right here goes on to kind of talk a little bit about the fears around mortgage rates increasing. And by the way, later on this evening at 6 p.m, I'm going to be joined by a mortgage expert, and we're going to try and take a look at what's going on in the mortgage space at this point in time, with obviously rates increasing. I said last week on one of the lives that, with a 43% loan to value, the cheapest rate I could find at that point was 4.99%. So we're going to have a mortgage professional talk about that and maybe offer a few tips later on this evening. So look, I will link this article right here. This is another issue as well. There's potentially going to be a ban on no-fault evictions, which I'm kind of for and I'm kind of against, because I think whenever you look at a situation like this, there are always two sides of the story. You've got the renter on one side, you've got the You've then got the landlord on one side. And no fault evictions means that a landlord under Section 21 basically can give you 2 months notice to leave as a tenant. And a lot of landlords, I guess, have abused that right during obviously the cost of living crisis, the pandemic, when obviously people weren't able to work, so on and so forth. And there is now a talk of actually a ban coming in for that specifically. So if landlords are now quitting because of Section 24, the fact that you can't now claim your mortgage payments as a deductible, you've got to pay tax on the whole thing. Interest rates are actually increasing. Big factor. Is this going to, who actually benefits here? Do first-time buyers benefit? Do renters benefit? Or do property investors benefit? And I think this is a really important paradigm and dynamic to kind of explore, because there are a lot of people on social media talking about property as the way to make a ton of money, and talking about supported accommodation, HMOs, homes of multiple occupancy. They're talking about different strategies, the BRRR approach, all of these things, right? Property is at the core. Now, if we're going to villainify landlords who have properties that are being rented out to families, to single people just starting out in life, how are they different to property investors as they are now seen on TikTok, on Instagram, and here on Instagram, on YouTube? How are they seen? How are they different? Are they just not the same thing, but are they not using a different term to describe what they do? And I think because of social media as well, this element that you can go and buy a £200 property course so you can learn how someone bought a property that they've now turned into a HMO has become even more attractive, because you know that you can go off and do the same thing. But you're doing the same thing as the existing crop of landlords. So what's the difference? I don't have the answer to any of this, but I do think it's a really important question to ask. And I'd love to get your perspectives in the comment section down below. So please leave your comments down there, because I'll be really interested to know how you're seeing this, how you're perceiving this, if you're in the space right now. I think there will be a win in one part of this equation for first-time buyers. More properties coming into the market will probably push property prices down a little bit. But for renters, that's not necessarily a good thing. You've got that double whammy of interest rates and shortage of rental properties coming on, being available in the market, which will push up rentals even further. And I think that exacerbates the problem even further. I think the key solution to this is we need to build more homes, which comes to government policy, which is, probably one of the reasons why, if you're not voting or you're not paying attention to politics right now, you should probably pay attention to politics and actually vote for the party that is actually going to do something about solving this problem. This problem does not go away on its own, unfortunately. And that's just the reality of it. And we find ourselves in this situation now where I feel more and more that capitalism and social need, those two things are butting heads more than ever before. Because yes, it's great to be able to have this ability to build and create something and benefit from it from a financial point of view, but where's the social responsibility that goes hand in hand with that? And that's always been the issue with capitalism, and we can see this right now in the property market, and indeed so many other markets across the world and in different sectors as well. So I'll be interested to know what you think. This is definitely going to be a perception thing, but let me know in the comments down below. As always, I appreciate you for watching. Thank you so much. Just as a reminder, 6 p.m. this evening, we are going to have a mortgage expert come along and talk a little bit about what's going on in the mortgage market at the moment, maybe what rates are actually available right now, what we're seeing there, what the sentiment is. And I'll be asking some questions around what should you be doing if you have a mortgage right now and you're coming off your fixed rate and you're thinking, okay, we need to do something, but you don't know what to do. Tune into that. 6:30 p.m., not 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. I'll see you then. Cheers.
Yeah, surprise, a little different than you're used to. Yeah. Dropping these bars on YouTube, knowledge I introduce you. Yeah. We chasing this money like it's the prize, it's the voodoo. Fugazi, it's just a lie we buying into. We need some cars on deck. Get the rollies, get the Moe, all the Mars on deck. We got the traders. Got the picture with the Bentley in Dubai. Are you dripping in designer looking fly? On the bombardier sipping on the wine. Broke man, we broke. Where's the fun in being broke? Stocks and bonds get you yo. That's what I'm teaching these folks. I see that smoke, see them choke. Getting coked while I'm researching these stocks. Buying coke. 20 months on the channel, million people taking note. I got a warrant for Buffet. I'm coming for his vote.